Welcome back. So, I hope you've all had a chance to interview your fear and find out more about yourself, your psyche, and learn whether fear interferes with your flow or if fear is a good teacher for you. Today, I want to move on to something else that challenges all of us as human beings. And that's something that I call the discouragement trap. You know that one? It's an interesting word, isn't it? Discourage. The root of the word courage is the French cœur, meaning heart. So if we look at all of us, we all have courage embedded in us. We are all full of heart. Courage is inbuilt. When we embark on something, we have the courage and then we get tested and we feel like we are not going to make it. How many of you have gone after something you've wanted to create in your life, and midway you start to feel it wasn't quite going your way? You started to get this overwhelming feeling of being discouraged. The voice of discouragement starts to whisper in us, "Oh, this is not going to work out. It's never going to work out." If you feel it grabbing at you and you start to feeling deflated, you start to feel a wave of doubt closing in on you, causing you to shut off your heart, your creativity, your fun. Discouragement is the enemy of the human spirit because, my friends, it can actually paralyze you. I personally know discouragement intimately, and it has visited me on many occasions. I would start on a project like writing a book and not feel the creative flow or the inspiration. And instead of accepting that as a natural part of the creative process, I would get discouraged and be down on myself, and it would become very challenging to keep going. Or I would try to raise funding for a project, and everyone I would ask would say, "No, we can't help you." And of course, I would feel rejected and discouraged from continuing to keep asking people. If you want to avoid getting this feeling of being paralyzed by discouragement, it's very important to stay ahead of it, outsmart it. At that moment of defeat, the challenge is not to identify with that feeling of discouragement, but instead create distance, observe it. That's the time we can expand a sense of ourselves and learn that something bigger than you, than your discouragement, is driving your life. Like everything in life, you can use discouragement to build your resilience muscle, your creativity, and your innovation muscle. So many of my projects that I went after did not happen, but they led me to myself. When my acting career wasn't happening, I was continuously tested and discouraged. I remember I auditioned for 6 hours of an adaptation of a Greek play in New York City. I'll never forget when the director called me afterwards and said, he had a very big Greek accent, thicker than mine, and he said, "My dear girl, you are so brilliant and you're such a talented actress, but I cannot use you." It was a Greek play of 6 hours. And I thought, if I can't even get a part in a Greek play, what am I going to do in acting career? I could not see my value beyond that. I was in a complete discouragement trap. After that news, I got on a bus in New York City to go to a singing lesson I had. And I met and started speaking to this woman sitting next to me who was a nurse but used to be an actress. So we started to talk about theater, and I told her I didn't get the part. She asked me, "What did you audition with?" I said, "Joan of Arc." She said, "Oh my God, I love that part. I love that role." And I said, "Would you like me to do my monologue for you?" So I did my monologue for her just like that. A lot of Greek chutzpah in a New York City bus. The woman held my hand, looked at me and said, "My dear girl, you are so talented," which I knew. but I wasn't getting the parts. So she said, go do your own thing. Can you believe it? That advice from that woman that I didn't know broke my spell from my discouragement trap. People want to go out and achieve their dreams, but when they encounter discouragement, they stop. Only those who don't stop eventually discover something bigger in themselves and inevitably find their success. Look around you. The people who eventually win at the game of life are the people who have the ability to persevere and keep going because they stay ahead of discouragement. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, but then he went on to become one of the greatest basketball players in the history of the game. J.K. Rowling's first Harry Potter book was rejected by 12 different publishers. Even the publishing house that finally bought her manuscript told her to get a day job. Now, she's one of the most successful female writers on the planet. So I would look at your discouragement as an ally, a chance to empower yourself by calling in the light, which is far more powerful than your negative emotions. So this is where prayer can come in. And through prayer, you can tap into that mighty spirit. My friends, if you try to fight discouragement with your ego, with your head, with your thoughts, oh, I shouldn't feel discouraged, I know better, if you're judging it, it's not going to work. You'll be ruminating, going on circles. But if you can summon up your power, look it in the face and say, you have no room here. Let the light come in, fill you up, anchor you. So when you hear that voice of discouragement and you start to collapse on yourself, you've got to know how to pray. Remember, if you're in the basement where discouragement is, get into that elevator. Acknowledge that, okay, you're being discouraged, but instead, you're going to push the button and go up to the higher floors. Here's a little guided meditation and a prayer to help you give yourself some grace. So come into your heart. Fill your heart with acceptance and love for yourself, with compassion. And look at your life and see where is the area where you're blocked with discouragement. Just see it. Okay. As you are looking at it, start to create distance between you and that block of discouragement. Start to bring your breath, your light, your presence, and start to elevate. If there are judgments there about yourself, just tell yourself, I forgive myself for judging myself for feeling discouraged. I forgive myself for judging myself for letting myself be sucked into discouragement, and see it dissipating. And now affirm and say, I have the courage, I have the confidence, I have the know-how to move on in my life, persevering and letting the Spirit be my partner in moving forward to the next step in my life, and see what that is. And anchor your confidence like an energy, like a strong energy that comes in, fills your whole body, your emotions, your mind. You feel it in your feet, and start to move into your heart, your strength. come into your peace, come into your calmness. Feel the energy of enthusiasm, which is the energy of God within you. Feel it coming up, supporting you, elevating you. And start to hear the voice of encouragement. You can do this. You can go forward. You can make this happen. I'm right here with you. I'm right here with you. Feel that power, the force that's coming in right now. Bond with it. Embrace it. Embody it. Claim it. Beautiful. And partner with it. Feel it in your heart. Exhale. And come present again. And remember, you can come back to this place over and over again. You are in charge. You and your God is in charge. So, my friends, practice moving past your discouragement over and over again. And find a visual that your discouragement has. And do whatever it takes to come out of it. You can dance it, you can sing it, you can walk away from it to get rid of the discouragement before it locks you in. But most of all, remember that at that moment that it comes, you are in charge. You can call in the partnership with God. You can name it, you can tame it, you can let it go. Okay? I'll see you next time.